the United Kingdom may limit the number of foreign students and their dependents who can now come into the country in a bid to curb growing immigration. According to reports, foreign students may in fact be barred in the United Kingdom if they fail to secure an admission to one of the top universities in the country. Now, official statistics have shown that net migration rose to an estimated record of 504,000 this year. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's spokesperson has said the Prime Minister is fully committed to bringing net migration numbers down, and the government is considering all options to make sure the immigration system is delivering. UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman has also commented on this issue time and again, saying the current level of migration has put pressure on accommodation, housing supplies, health, education and other public services in the UK. Now, overseas students and their dependents form a sizable chunk of people coming into the country. Data says 476,000 students came into the UK in the last 1 year, and they brought with them 116,000 dependents. Reports say one of the ideas the government could be considering is placing curbs on foreign students and the number of relatives who they can bring in with them. The measures could include barring overseas students unless they've secured admission to one of the top universities. England's higher education regulator has already warned that universities with low graduate earnings and high dropouts could face large fines or even deregistration. Reports also say there could be measures to assess the admission of students in universities, including proof that they have enough funds to look after their dependents. And clearly this is a matter that is of great significance to India, because a very large number of foreign students in the United Kingdom are in fact from India. And interestingly, of course, the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is of Indian descent, as is the UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman, who in fact has been accused by her critics of taking a rather hawkish stand on the issue of growing immigration in the United Kingdom. She's time and again spoken of the need to in fact curb the growing immigration in that country. For more on this, we are now joined by WION's principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. We'll also go across to Alex Izat in London. But let me start with you, Siddhant. As I said, this is a story that India is going to watch very closely as it unfolds in the United Kingdom, because the highest number of foreign students in the UK are from India. To what extent is this likely to impact Indians, and has there been any reaction from the Indian government yet?
Well, this, of course, is a development that will be keenly noted here in India. As you pointed out, Indians contribute to a major number of foreign students in the United Kingdom. But largely, there hasn't been any reaction. But also remember that while Indian students have been going to UK, they have also been contributing to the British economy. And the British, of course, are keen to use their soft power through education as well. So it's a kind of win-win for both the countries. But there has been increased rhetoric or comments from the government in UK, especially on immigration. How much it impacts the Indian students is something that will be keenly awaited.
All right, we'll have to wait and see what shape this finally takes. As you said, Siddhant, this is something the Indian government is going to watch very closely, given the huge number of students from India who go to the United Kingdom every year. And as you said, many of them also contribute to the British economy. But as we have seen in recent weeks, the British Prime Minister and especially the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who in fact happen to be of Indian descent, have taken a rather tough stand on the issue of immigration. We're hoping to go across to my colleague Alex Izat for more on this story. She is, of course, tracking all the developments in London. It's not just Suella Braverman, the UK Home Secretary, who's taken a tough stand on this. Even Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said that he's fully committed to controlling the rising immigration in the United Kingdom, and therefore they are in fact planning at this stage to introduce curbs on more and more foreign students coming in, many of whom are from India. One of the suggestions under consideration is that if a foreign student does not get an admission to one of the top universities in the UK, then they are unlikely to be allowed in. All right, I'm told we can now go across to Alex Izat, who is in London. Alex, as I just mentioned, that not only has the UK Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who happens to be of Indian descent, taken a very tough and almost hawkish stance on the issue of migration, we've also heard Prime Minister Rishi Sunak say he's committed to controlling immigration. This is a recurring theme with the Tories, isn't it? What shape is this proposed policy eventually likely to take? Because some of those recommendations are somewhat contentious, and countries like India are going to watch this very closely.
Well, I think what we're going to be seeing is that there's going to be a lot of communication about how we're going to stop this migration influx. At the moment, there's talk about the foreign students and trying to cut down the amount of dependents that are able to come into the country while someone is studying. But that is just a small percentage. Of course, we hear all these numbers that there is over 500,000 that are long-term immigration over here in the UK, and that over 39% of them are through visas. But people do need to still study. Jeremy Hunt himself, the Chancellor, he said that he wanted to encourage people to come into the UK and study here, because that's the only way that we're going to have growth. But looking at some of the finer details about what is needed if you come over with your study work visa, at the moment, some universities like this, King's College in London, they're saying you can only have a partner, married or not, and then your children. It doesn't say how many children, and those suggestions may be finite. So if the partner, for example, will be able to stay at home with the children, then that might be something that looked into. But again, you don't really want to turn into a country that is suggesting that no one can come over and study here at all. But there does need to be a real look into what kind of degrees are allowing this study work visa. But generally on the facts of immigration, a lot of people thought that that's what would happen with Brexit, that we wouldn't have so many coming over to the country, and I think that is a concern for UK nationals. We talk about health, we talk about cost of living, but with extra immigration it does put a lot more pressure on doctors' surgeries, on the NHS, and I think that's a lot of things that people are really worried about, and Rishi Sunak and his cabinet will need to be making sure that people are a bit more content, because we are going right now through a whole host of issues with the cost of living crisis, and they are trying to look ahead, the Conservatives trying to look ahead to the election, which actually isn't that far off, and they definitely want people on their side.
Well, immigration continues to be a major issue in the United Kingdom, especially at a time like this for the Tory government. Thanks very much, Alex, for all those details.